Hello and welcome to our tutorial on translating with a hosted Smartling connector. A connector is a pre-built integration that creates a direct link between a content platform, such as a content management system, an email marketing platform, or your knowledge base, and the Smartling translation management platform. Smartling offers connectors for many popular content platforms. In this video, we will specifically look at connectors that are hosted in Smartling. This means that you can configure your connector and initiate the translation process directly in your Smartling dashboard. Here's how it works. You can follow your usual process to create the source content in your content platform. Everything else then happens in Smartling. In your Smartling dashboard, you can see a list with all of the pages and articles from your content platform, so you can simply pick the ones that you would like to translate. Your content gets translated directly in Smartling. This means that you will get all of the benefits of using a translation management platform, like a translation memory, automated quality checks, and flexible translation workflows. Once the translations are ready and completed, they get sent back directly to your content platform without any copying and pasting. This automated way of requesting translations does not only save you time, but it also creates a reliable and seamless process that reduces the risk of human copying and pasting errors. Before you begin using one of our connectors, we would recommend reaching out to your Smartling Customer Success Manager, who will be happy to guide you through the process of setting up a dedicated connector project in your Smartling account. Once your project has been created, you can see 3 tabs that allow you to manage your Smartling connector. Of course, the exact names of these tabs may vary depending on the content platform that you are using. For today's example, we will use a content platform called Contentful. From the Connector tab, you will be able to send your content for translation. This will be the most important tab for your day-to-day use of the Smartling connector. After you have sent some content for translation, you can check the progress page from the gear icon to get some additional information about the status of your ongoing translations. From the same gear icon, you can also navigate to your project settings and click into the Connector Settings tab. This is where you can manage the connection between your Smartling project and your content platform. We will take a look at these connector settings at the end of this video. For now, let's return to our main Connector tab. Once your connector is configured, you can now use it to manage your entire translation process. All you need is a Smartling account with an account owner or project manager user role. With all of our hosted connectors, you can find a Connector tab in your Smartling project. This tab is named after the content platform that you are using. You can think of this tab as a direct view into your content platform. All content assets from your source platform are listed here, whether they have already been translated or not. This is simply an interface where you can navigate your content to find the items that you want to translate. If you are looking for some specific content that you would like to translate, you can make use of a range of filtering options on the left side. For example, you can filter specifically for content that has not been translated yet. You can now see the name of each content asset, its content type, and its status. By clicking on the information icon, you can get an even more detailed breakdown and see the status for each of your target languages. Once you have found the content that you would like to send for translation, you can create a translation job directly from this tab. Simply select the relevant content assets and choose the option Request translation from the Actions menu. You can now enter a name for your translation job, provide an optional description for further context, and select the languages that the content should be translated into. With some of our connectors, you might also be asked if you would like to include related assets in the translation job. Related assets are components that are shared across multiple pages. For example, a disclaimer that appears on several pages. By ticking this checkbox, you can include these shared components in your translation job, so all of the text that is displayed on the selected page will get translated. In a second step, the job needs to be authorized to send the content to your translation vendor and to kick off the actual translation process. You can simply select your desired translation workflow and authorize the job. This job is now in progress, and you can monitor it in your Smartling Jobs tab. Whenever you want to request translations into a new language, please follow this same process and initiate the translation from your Connector tab. Please do not use your Jobs page to add a new language to an existing job, as this would prevent the translations from being sent back to your content platform. With most of our connectors, your linguists can see a panel for visual context in their translation interface that shows them how the translations will appear on the localized page. Any HTML formatting tags and any character limits from your source text are shown to the translators. Our automated quality checks ensure that they are applied correctly in the translations, so you don't need to worry about the layout or the formatting of the translations. Once the translations are completed, they get sent back automatically to your content platform. You can see them as a language version of the original content type. This automated download happens right after your content asset has been fully translated and completed. If you are working against a tight deadline, you don't have to wait until your entire content asset has been fully translated. Instead, you can send those translations that are already completed back to your content platform at any time by exporting them manually. Exporting means that you can force the download of the completed translations back to your content platform. Please note that any translations that are still in progress and not fully completed yet will not be sent back to your content platform. To run a manual export, please navigate to your Connector tab and select the relevant asset from the list. From the Actions menu, you can now choose to export the translation. This action sends the completed translations back to your content platform immediately. You can now see the translations as a language version in your content platform. Depending on your exact settings, you might need to publish the translated asset also within your content platform in order for it to be publicly visible. Once you have requested a content asset to be translated, we can automatically monitor it for any updates. Every time you make an edit or an update to the source copy in your content platform, Smartling can automatically detect the new content and place it into a translation job. This helps keep your translated content in sync with your source language. To determine how you would like Smartling to handle any updates to content that was previously requested for translation, please access your project settings under the gear icon in your project. Then click into your Connector Settings tab. Here you can choose between 3 options. As the name suggests, the option Auto handles any content updates in a fully automated way. Whenever you make an edit in your content platform to a page that has already been requested for translation in Smartling, we will automatically recognize that there is some new copy, pick up the new content, and put it into a translation job. These jobs that we create automatically for your updated content are called daily bucket jobs. Of course, only the new copy gets pulled into Smartling for translation. Any content that has remained the same does not need to be retranslated. The Auto option works in combination with another setting that can be managed and adjusted by your Smartling Customer Success Manager. Depending on your preferences, the daily bucket jobs for updated content can be authorized automatically and sent to your translation vendor straight away, or if you prefer to check the content first, these jobs can be left in the awaiting authorization status, so you can authorize them manually once you are ready to approve them. Please feel free to reach out to your Smartling Customer Success Manager, who can adjust this authorization setting to your preferences. Whether you choose to automatically authorize the daily bucket jobs or not, they are only meant to keep your translations in sync with your updated source text, but they do not pick up brand new content assets. Whenever you create a new page or article in your content platform, it needs to be sent for translation manually from the Connector tab. Similarly, whenever you add a new language to your project, you need to manually request a translation of all required content from the Connector tab. Our daily bucket jobs do not include any new languages that were not part of the initial translation request. If you are interested in automating the job creation for new content assets, please reach out to your Customer Success Manager, who will be able to provide further information and guidance. If you select the option Disabled, Smartling will not check for any updates to content that you have previously requested for translation. Whenever you make changes to a page in your content platform, the new copy does not get pulled into Smartling automatically. So even if you update your source content, the localized pages will only show the initial translations. We would only recommend this setting if you're planning to translate just the first version of each page. If you would like to translate some of your updated content, but also maintain full manual control, you can select the option Manual. This setting allows Smartling to check for updated content, but we will not automatically create a translation job. Instead, every 3 hours, the Smartling connector will monitor the content that you had previously requested for translation. If any pages have been updated since you last sent them for translation, they will be flagged as outdated. You can find them in your Connector Progress tab under the gear icon by clicking the checkbox Show Outdated. The outdated content is not put into a translation job by Smartling. The checkbox to show outdated pages is purely informational. You can now decide on a one-by-one basis which articles you want to get an updated translation for. To request the updated content for translation, you can follow the usual process. Simply navigate back to your Connector tab, search for the outdated page, and select the option Request Translation from the Actions menu. You can now manually create and authorize a translation job for the updated copy. The best setting for your content updates depends on your exact requirements and workflows. Sending updated pages for translation in a fully automated way reduces your manual effort, and speeds up the process. However, if your team makes many updates to the source content that may not be final, or may not all require a translation, then a more manual approach might be more suitable. Whenever you add a new language to your connector project, please do not authorize any content just yet. Instead, please select the option "I'll decide later." Before you can authorize any content into your new language, there is an additional setting that needs to be configured. Please click into your project settings and navigate to your Connector Settings tab. Here you can find your language configuration options. Sometimes your content platform and Smartling might use two different names for the same language. So to make sure that the translations can be sent back correctly, you need to map the Smartling language to the corresponding language from your content platform. From the drop-down menu, please select the language name as it appears in your content platform. This tells our connector that, for example, the translations for German Germany should be sent back to your content platform, where they will be used for your German Germany page. This language mapping only needs to be done once for each language. So as soon as you have completed the mapping for the new language, you can hit Save and you are all set. Whenever you want to add a new content type for translation, you might need to configure an additional setting in your Connector Settings tab. For some of our connectors, you need to select which content types should be sent for translation and how they should be processed. This content parsing configuration also determines how elements like HTML formatting tags will show up for the translators. Whenever you add a new asset type for translation, please make sure to select the correct parsing format from the drop-down menu. Of course, you can find more information about all available options in our Help Center. This content parsing configuration only needs to be set up once for each asset type. So as soon as you have selected the correct parsing format and hit Save, you are all set. Please note that the content types that you want to send for translation may also need to be set up as localizable within your content platform. If you need more information about the connector that you are using and any of its settings, please feel free to contact your Smartling Customer Success Manager or visit our Help Center, where you can find detailed information about all of our hosted connectors. Thank you very much for watching and for your time today.